Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 177, April 8th, 2020. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey, everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Michael Aston.
Hello, everyone.
How's everybody doing? As I turn off the pre-show.
Great.
Live on Twitch.
Yeah.
I know. It's weird, huh?
But we're live on Twitch here. What is that?
I don't know. These guys, they're some kind of fools doing something interesting.
That's like the knockoff.
Just something to put on. I don't know.
See, I found out that everybody is copying Movie Party now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's people out there copying VOD Squad.
Yeah, there's these guys. I think they're the Cord Killers or something like that. I've never heard of them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, how's your week been?
It's
oh boy, that's a loaded sigh.
Great.
I did see on the Twitter today, somebody posted out there, maybe there's some people we shouldn't tell that when the quarantine is over.
Who would that be?
See, for me, this is wonderful. I have an excuse to not interact with anybody outside of my immediate family except to get fast food. This is great. Somebody brings my food to my door. I don't have to leave my house to go do anything. Occasionally I go pick up a pizza or go through a drive-through. This is exactly how I like to live my life.
See,
or how I've been living mine for the last 10 years.
See, and the thing I find funny is everybody is raving about how you can get food delivered. But that's like the worst scenario because you have no idea who prepared it. You didn't see them do it. You don't know what's all over that food. That being said,
so if the food is hot, you should be good.
It's if not the food's that hot.
Not hot, right? Like if it's like a soda or something like that, you wipe off the outside of the soda and stuff. We go probably a little overboard because my wife is paranoid and I have asthma, so I am considered an at-risk individual. So we're a little over obsessive about everything.
Should I tell the story of the first time that I ever heard that they actually delivered food?
Nope. I've never heard it.
So this goes way back when I was in the Army, and I joined the Army right out of high school, right? And I grew up in a small town, about 4 traffic lights. Never really experienced the big city or anything like that. And so you go through basic training, and then after basic training you go through your advanced training. And when you're in your advanced training, you're living in the barracks and all, and it's not as strict on you. I mean, you can go out, after you do your training for the day or whatever. And there was this guy who, he was from Boston, and he kind of liked me. Yeah, we hung out together and all. And then he asked me one day, he says, "Hey, Jimmy, you want to go in half on a pie?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, I'm hungry, I could eat." Right? He said, "Well, what kind of pie do you like?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know, apple." right? And he's like, no, man, no, a pizza pie, pizza pie. I was like, oh, okay, got you. I was like, I don't know, pepperoni, I guess, or something like that. I said, where are we going to go to get it? He's like, no, you call them and they'll deliver it to you. I was like, what? They'll bring it to you? They deliver? When did they start doing that? Right? Yeah. This was in the year of 1980 is when this was. First time I'd ever heard of, somebody delivering pizza or food or anything like that. So anytime I hear somebody talking about delivering food, it always takes me back to that first time.
Yeah,
Right.
except you got to remember in the 80s, there was a time where every pizza delivery was at risk of damage by the Noid.
Yep. Or delivered for under 30 minutes or it's free.
Oh yeah.
This was before that. I think it took
that
more than
was
30 minutes.
that was probably early 90s.
Well, no, that was mid 80s, mid to late 80s.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was still going, or it was going again in the mid 90s when I was in high school and we were, ordering pizzas and, trying to give slightly bad directions, but without giving bad directions.
Yeah.
So that they'd be late.
Oh no, you don't do that. You want your pizza, right? You want it on time, right?
High school kids. Come on.
Yeah, okay, fine.
We were
They weren't high school kids, they were high school dicks.
Those are synonyms.
All right. Hey, what are we actually here to talk about?
Streaming news, guys. If you are an Apple TV 3 owner, you may have noticed that certain things aren't working on your Apple TV. It appears that the YouTube app has stopped working for users on their Apple TVs. So as of yesterday, there have been users reporting that an error occurred while loading this content to try again later on their Apple TV 3 devices. I don't own an Apple TV 3. Does anybody seen any of this or heard anything about this?
I own one, but I mean, the machine's probably about 7-8 years old, right?
Yeah.
Right.
See, there's somebody out there that is super angry about this.
Of course.
But this is just like whenever we talk about such and such app is no longer supporting, like Netflix is no longer supporting like 10-year-old Rokus. There's somebody out there that's livid, but most people won't ever notice because they've moved on.
Your 10-year-old Roku no longer running Netflix. I can say go to the store, spend $35, get a new Roku. You'll like it better, and because that's a very small barrier for you to get the newer thing after 10 years, guys. It's a kind of expensive for an Apple TV.
Yeah, it's significantly more expensive.
7 years isn't bad, but
it's Apple TV 3 came out March of 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we have historically it's been easy for us to think that devices don't go bad, right? Like you bought your VHS player and that lasted you. It's probably still works, right? Your cassette player, you may not have plugged it in for a month. Your NES, I mean, I had an NES for 25 years that still played games and stuff. So I think but we're getting to a point where it's not bound by the hardware, it's bound by the software. And the software is accommodating more and more stuff that's happening outside of the context of the device. So as we're moving to these cloud operating solutions where the application is in the cloud and you're just receiving data, the software has to be able to update to accommodate what's happening with the client. The client has to accommodate what's happening to the server. And it makes sense that these hardware manufacturers aren't going to continue to update the embedded hardware or the embedded software on the hardware. How long are you going to continue to invest in an existing?
Well,
I mean, the app maker. I mean, how far back does the app maker want to go? right?
that
I
too.
mean, to a 2012 machine, you know, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, okay, on the newer machines, yes,
Yeah.
but to you know, upgrade that app all the way back 8 years ago,
See,
you
and
know,
I mean, the perfect example was recently when Netflix cut off the old Rokus. And it wasn't because Netflix had anything against the Roku, it was the fact
no,
that those required Silverlight to run. And they no longer support Silverlight,
Yeah.
and the old Roku didn't have the capability of using the new whatever they're using, HTML20, to support in or to replace Silverlight. So I mean, it's a point where it's just not going to work. Where you can't have like 20 different versions that you're actively coding for. So it's inevitable.
yeah,
And
Yeah, even my long-term make it last forever solution, which is buy an Intel NUC or a similar very small PC and install Linux on it or Windows if you want to pay for it, and just do it all through this. You're streaming through that. Eventually, something somewhere will stop being supported. So
Mhm.
maybe it was only 32-bit and can't do 64-bit anymore. Eventually, everybody moves on, and you're going to be left behind eventually.
yep.
This is
I mean, I'd say that
Go ahead.
your only real option is you can take a note from the car people. If a manufacturer stops making parts for a specific vehicle, people figure out how to make those parts themselves. You can always learn how to code and make your own version of the YouTube app, if you
yeah.
really want to. But is it
Well,
worth the effort?
yeah, and I'm, you know, if you, I mean, somebody could code their own, right? I mean, and it would
Yeah.
run fine on that machine if you really wanted to do that,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, Google's a big corporation like anybody else. You know, they've got to make decisions on how far back they're going to support something.
Work. All right.
All right. Hey, ABC News Live, that the streaming service that has been expected for different devices, that he already started coming out for the Apple TV and the Roku devices. It's now available on your Android TV and your Fire TV. These are the free watch their news feed on the available for the various streaming devices, and it's now available for the new platforms available for you today.
Yeah, you know, I like this, and you know, you're probably going to. This is going to be kind of a recurring theme, right? But you know, this quarantine thing is very interesting to me to see how the streaming services are really coming to life and really competing, you know, for everybody's eyeballs here, you know, with the quarantine and all. Um, you know, it's yeah, I gotta say, you know, I really like it, and you know, for cord cutters like us, I think you know, it's laying the foundation to make it better for us. More
This is one
competition
of
is always good.
this is one of many of those free news apps that's been kind of cropping up over things. So, and news is very popular right now, especially with the big news we have going on. So,
Sure.
it makes sense that these will be hitting more platforms.
But I mean, the only interesting thing is, you know, okay, well, it took ABC and the quarantine to come out with, you know, what other channels already had, right? And you know, CBS has had this out for a long time,
It's
right?
true.
So, yeah, I mean, that's one interesting aspect to it. But hey, everybody's, you know, coming to the table with their own streaming service now.
Hey, back to older models of Apple TVs. We got a story here about HBO Go and HBO Now. They're going to lose support for the second and third generation Apple TV starting at the end of April. So it sounds like everybody's dropping support for this model and earlier ones now. So this might mark the end of that version of the device. Was the next version the HD version, I believe?
No, well, the third generation was the HD version,
Okay.
right? The second generation was 720p.
The,
The third
the
generation was 1080p.
And the
Right.
fourth one must be the 4K one.
No, there was a fourth generation that was also 1080p, and
Oh, okay.
then there was the 4K one.
Okay.
Right? But the one reason why they might be dropping these, there are rumors out there that Apple's going to be releasing a new Apple TV soon. So that might be part of the reason why they're dropping these old ones.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. Amazon is got a good deal for you guys if you're a Switch user, if you're a Prime subscriber. Normally, they have their normal one free game a month, and it looks like they are now offering you 5 free games for this month if you want to go ahead and get the Amazon Prime for Gaming solution. The games they have is Earthlock, Etherborn, Light Matter, Kathy Rain, and Turok. Yes, Turok, that Turok.
Cool. Everybody loves Turok Dinosaur
Is
Hunter.
this different than the regular Prime?
Only that they've got 5 this month instead of 1.
No. I mean, it's not a different subscription. This is the same Prime that gives you the Twitch
game a month.
stuff, and you get a game, and
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I can't resist. I'll do a Clyde joke here. Turok, isn't that Spock's dad?
Yes.
I thought it was his uncle, but that's okay.
Oh, I thought it was the guy from Voyager.
I don't remember his name, quite frankly. He's forgettable.
Was that? Oh no,
Tuvok.
that was
That was
Tuvok guy.
Tuvok.
Hey, you got to give me credit because that was a deep cut.
That was a deep cut.
especially
That was-
for me.
That was not too bad.
All right. Hey guys, if you remember how people would be getting their different services on Apple products and on Google products, and they always take their 30% cut.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how that's basically been a hard and fast rule. Maybe Apple made this kind of rule where maybe it's a little less after a couple of years or something like that, but it's 30%. You're given 30% of whatever you're making, right?
Yeah, that's why
And
you can't. That's why you can't rent or purchase videos through the app on the Amazon app on the iPhone.
Everybody takes their app and says, "Oh, well, you just click here to rent your thing," and then it takes you to a web page where you can make your purchase, and basically gets around that whole thing. And nobody can get past this. This is something that everybody. No, I'm sorry. Looks like Apple's allowed Amazon and a couple other people to get around this without the 30% cut. What makes Amazon lucky enough to do this?
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, well, all the Apple stores are closed now. So how else are people going to buy their Apple stuff? Right? They got to go to Amazon to get it, right?
I know for a fact that there are deals made here. Some money
Yes.
is being exchanged somehow.
It's
You got it.
because since all of Apple's employees are working from home, their AWS usage has gone through the roof. And so instead of paying an arm and a leg to Amazon for storage, they said, "Hey, give us a break on the servers, and we'll let you give your stuff."
Yeah, but I think, I mean, seriously, Matt, I think you're right. I think it is something to do with money. I mean, there's obviously they came to some agreement there, and I mean, so we see, what the advantage for Amazon. What I am curious to know is there going to be something similar the other direction, perhaps.
I think you have to expect that these kinds of deals end up happening in the long term, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon is obviously going to resist giving away 30% of their revenue on something that is basically no value added on Apple's side, right? Apple at that point, Apple's not adding any value. So why are they getting 30%? Now, yes, they may handle part of the transactional costs, but it's trivial. So, but a powerful company like Amazon has so much potential. Even if you cut it down to say 5% or something, then the amount of money Apple gets out of that is massive. Amazon makes a little bit more money because some of those sales wouldn't have gone to them, right? Like they wouldn't have got those rentals. That people would have found a different way to get that device. So
it's a credit card transaction that nobody feels at that point. So yeah, it totally makes sense.
Hey, Mike, but let me ask you, you've got a Fire TV. Can you get the Apple TV Plus app on your Fire TV?
I have no idea.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if that doesn't have something to do with it now.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, the Apple TV Plus app doesn't have in-app purchases, right?
Well, I mean, I think you can do the same. You can rent movies and stuff like that through it. Yeah. right? So it's kind of
Check
the
this
same
week,
thing,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
So
and I asked that as a question. That wasn't a statement because I've never
Right.
used it, so I don't know.
I'll check this week to be sure. I don't know. It's never even occurred to me to check it out. I haven't really been lacking of things to watch, so it's never occurred to me to try to pick up, because I've only heard of 2 good shows on the Apple TV Plus app. So
Yeah.
well, you get it for a year free if you own
So,
an Apple device.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
I
it
don't-
historically let you buy anything, but maybe it will now. If Amazon waives their fee and Apple waives their fee, you've got
Okay.
your kind of
Remember that about 6 months, maybe a year ago, they did announce that they're getting together and being nice to each other. Amazon showed up on one of the keynotes, and so
it's just like
we're gonna be buddies now.
just like major countries have. You've got the mutual destruction keeps you friends. The fact that, hey, we could destroy each other if we're not happy, so let's just keep each other happy. But yeah,
Sorry,
assured mutual destruction. That's what it.
I think this deal should be happening for other people too. That's all I gotta say. I want.
Agreed.
I think Netflix should be able to just have people sign up and not have to pay Apple 30% of every single bill they ever made from that point on.
Mhm.
Seriously, that's how the license worked. So, yeah, makes no sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
I think that's kind of what I'm indicating is I expect that over time you'll start to see some loosening of that, and other companies getting to take advantage of that. The challenge that Apple has is it's really easy when you have a flat statement to not have people bickering over it. At what point? Is it Epic Games? That's I think that's
Yeah,
their name.
it was
I mean,
Fortnite.
they're really big. They have a name brand themselves. So why should they have to pay the same amount as, this
Right.
indie startup that has no name and no way to distribute except Apple, and Apple is adding value to the distribution chain at that point, right? So if the more they open it up, the more people are going to argue, and then they start to get into this Pandora's box, right? So having a yes or no is the safest thing, but as time goes, those big powers and the decrease of acceleration of revenue that you get over time as a market becomes saturated lends them to start making those deals. So they're going to get a lot more revenue out of this Amazon deal, and that's worth it. It helps them continue to make more money. And over time, that's going to filter down because they're going to want to continue to show growth in the App Store sales and in that division of the company. And they're not going to be able to do that as the US market becomes more saturated with iPhones, and they're not selling more iPhones per capita, so they don't have an increase in revenue from that. They need to find another way to increase revenue, and getting other deals so that they have more sales through Netflix, Amazon, stuff like that is how they're going to do that.
Yep.
Hey, if you've been a fan of TikTok and you like their how they do their feeds, but you wish you had another option, now YouTube is looking to come out with a new version of YouTube Shorts, which is basically a copy. It's supposed to be coming out later this year. We'll see what it looks like. Anybody ever use TikTok?
I know Mike does.
I've used it. I uninstalled it quite a while ago.
I didn't say CES last year. He was all about the TikTok.
It is obsessive. Like it's a time sink, because you've got these little like 20-second, 10-second clips that are funny and entertaining, and it's just hard to not just keep going. And then you realize, holy crap, it's like 2 a.m. I've been stupid little videos for 5.5 hours. What in the world is happening to my life? And then you uninstall it because you want some of your life back.
So
sounds awesome. I want it now.
This is the thing I don't get. If people wanted to watch short videos on YouTube, there was nothing stopping them from making the short video and uploading them to YouTube.
That's a good point.
This is pointless. Google basically said that they're worried, that it's losing viewers because of other platforms like TikTok. And I want to remind them, no, you're not losing viewers because of TikTok. People watch videos on, because they like the long form videos. You're losing viewers because you have been hostile towards your viewers and the creators with the incessant takedowns and then the rules about what you can and can't post and the censoring of speech. And yeah, that is the reason people aren't watching as many videos on YouTube. And yeah,
YouTube has the problem of being the most successful, and thus they are the most scrutinized, and they're having to deal with all this, and they're not doing perfectly at dealing with it. So the smaller companies that are coming in, like the TikToks, can get away with a little bit of this. Hey, we can do it the right way, kind of thing. And but I think whoever gets the lead is going to have to deal with it.
Yeah,
it's certainly worth.
Go ahead.
I think you're making the same point that I was starting to make, that it's certainly worth looking at the fact that it's a different platform and a different purpose, right? YouTube is not short Vine-like films. There was Vine, now there's TikTok, and there's a very different type of thing. I don't sit down to watch 30-second or 20-second clips on YouTube because that's not what I expect there. I want content that's got a story or information or whatever, and TikTok is just a quick laugh or a fun song or a silly video. That's what it is, and you go through hundreds of them in an hour, and it's totally different. But I understand why YouTube would want a slice of that, but it has nothing to do with YouTube. It's just another app.
You know why before it was TikTok, it was Musical.ly. You know why people were going to Musical.ly and not doing that on YouTube?
Why?
Because if they did, YouTube would immediately take it down because you don't own the money or the music. You couldn't. You physically could not do that on YouTube because it would be immediately taken down and you'd get a strike and you'd get banned.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, T-Mobile guys, if you have a T-Mobile family plan, you're going to get a free Quibi account for a year. That's right. You're already given a free year of Netflix, and you're going to be given a free year of Quibi for you to use. And after the end of that year, you get to choose which of those two you want to keep. Seriously.
Okay, Jimmy, we've got a task for you. Since I know you're a T-Mobile guy. You're going to have to download the Quibi with your free subscription, and at the end of the year, you're going to have to tell us which one are you keeping, the free Netflix or the free Quibi.
Okay. What is Quibi?
I saw a great tweet today. I can't remember who it was. I want to say maybe it was, I don't know. But it was one of our general circle, and the statement was anybody got any good suggestions for Quibi? I'm thinking about uninstalling after with 89 days left of my 90-day trial.
So Jimmy, I think to answer your question, we've got another story.
Is Quibi similar to what we just talked about, TikTok?
Oh, kinda. Quibi is officially launched as of April 4th, I believe it was launched.
I was surprised. I thought they were gonna do it on April 1st.
You would think so.
That would have been the perfect time.
Yeah, it would be. But no, it is officially launched. Quibi has launched with many different shows available for you to watch, all of which very short, within about 10 minutes each of all these different videos. There are many different, and there's a paid for version with ads and a one without, both from $4.99 to $7.99. And you get the T-Mobile customers are getting the free subscription. There's been a couple of problems with the launch, like people have been having troubles being able to watch things because of the I don't know, maybe it was the load. People have there have been some interesting reviews online of some of the various shows. People are saying that it feels a little bit more like it's kind of should be full length episodes versus cut up short ones.
Yeah.
In
So
a short one. So
if you might remember, Jimmy, we talked about it before. This is the one that's calling it Quibi for quick bites. So they're like 10-minute episodes, but they got all these big names like Steven Spielberg to develop these shows, and you get them at 10 minutes at a time. And it's very short form. And then in some of them, they're filmed in both vertical and sideways video, so that you can watch it in either way. But sometimes if you turn it to panorama, you get more information, or whatever. I don't know.
There's one show that's like 10 minutes, and it's got Sansa Stark in it. I can't remember her real name, and it's going to be released in increments like daily.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's conceptually interesting to get your like episodic content very quickly, to have small bites, but I mean, geez, a 22-minute sitcom is hard to get much shorter, in my opinion, and still convey something meaningful. But I guess if it's every day, I don't know. I've only heard one thing about it, and it was, okay, what do I do with the rest of my 90-day trial after day one?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you go to their website, you can sign up for a 90-day free trial.
That's what they're talking about.
But I'm starting to look at some of the shows. I mean, my God. Yeah, one of them is called Murder House Flip.
Yeah.
And there's one, I
God.
think it was the Steven Spielberg one, which is only to be watched at night. So like you are geographically locked out of watching it before the sun has gone down in your region.
wow.
And it was just like, I mean, conceptually that people are able to do some different stuff. Whether or not it's going to be effective, I don't know.
So I got a new idea.
The Sansa Stark show, that was Survive, is the name of it. Right.
So I got this new idea for a TV service. Get this. We're going to cut down the shows even further. We're going to make them like 30 seconds long. We're going to call the service ads.
Oh, I thought you were just going to call it TikTok. You're going to put out a entire series via TikTok.
I can see that.
30 seconds at a time.
Do these 10-minute shows have ads in them? Because that'd be a deal killer.
You think with or without ads? Yes, you can get it with or without ads.
Yeah.
Hey, so there are a bunch of different online film festivals that are out there, and they're normally real, real ones like South by Southwest was supposed to be having film festivals. The Tribeca Film Festival had its VR things going to be released this year, and instead they're going to allow you to watch the 15 of those films using your own VR headsets at home for available to you using the Cinema 360 app. This means that starting on April 17th, you can go ahead and go to their Cinema 360 programming, and I believe it's available through the Oculus apps like the Oculus TV and the Oculus Quest. And these are 15-minute films where you will be able to experience the whole VR solution. And I've always been interested in how good a VR film could be, and I'm wondering if I can get this to work on something besides the Oculus software. If that's the case, I might try this out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's only on Oculus, I'm never gonna try it because we know how I refuse to authenticate through Facebook. But if it's on other stuff, it could be compelling.
Yeah, just come out with the holodeck, and then I'll be interested.
Well, if it's a Star Trek VR experience, would you do it? It's basically holodeck at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You just hang out on the bridge.
Not if I have to wear those goggles. No. I did try them once. My son-in-law has a pair, and not for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so AMC is also offering their services for free. They're doing a free streaming service which does not require you to sign in. It's got a whole bunch of different of their shows, but particularly if you like The Walking Dead, it's got the first half of the 10th season on there, and also it's got yay Mystery Science 3000 shows available for streaming.
Cool.
That's
Interesting.
awesome.
Okay. Netflix is now offering a new option to have parental controls on the different profiles. They are now allowing you to set it up so you can have a pin on your profile. So you can have your After Dark profile that the kids don't know the pin to. And also they're allowing you to set up the various profiles to have different filters. So you can filter by rating as well, which is good.
They've always had that.
They have had a filter. Well, they've had a kids level, and then
before it was kids level, and then they did the teen one that let you go up to. So like when your kids get a little too old for the, kid stuff, then you could change it to the teen, which I think lets it go up to like PG-13 maybe, but not above, But
it looks like they've done a major overhaul of the parental system, and apparently it's for the better.
The pin could be useful.
Yes,
I see that. It could also be super annoying. Now, if you could just enable it on specific devices, that would be nice. So, like, I could see pin protecting my profile in the living room, but not in my bedroom. Because I don't want it pin protected in my bedroom because my kids are never going to be using it. And I don't want to have to type in the stupid pin every single time because every time I enter Netflix, I have to choose the profile.
Right.
It can't just go into whatever the most recent profile was. So, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Very cool.
I wonder if it would work with like a biometric kind of thing rather than.
It's a good question. I would have guessed no. If it's first iteration as a pin, I'm certain that's all they're doing at this time.
Yeah, I mean, and also if you're sitting in bed watching TV and you turn on the Netflix, do you want to get out of bed to go over and do the biometric thing?
Just needs to have a high enough resolution camera to recognize your face from across the room.
Obviously, and that should be installed on everything.
with the lights out.
Totally cool in your bedroom, right?
No,
So-
if it's integrated with your phone, you just do it with your phone, right?
Yeah, but
So Movies Anywhere, I believe we talked about the fact that they were working on a new Screen Pass program, which would allow you to let other people borrow digitally your software. It is out of basically their little alpha. They're now doing letting anybody who requests an invite to get to use it. So you can request access to this feature. They will let you in, and about 80% of the movies that are available through in Movies Anywhere would be available for you to lend out to other users as you wish. So that's not bad. They'll have up to 72 hours to watch it. They'll have 14 days to start it, and then once they start watching it, they have 72 hours to finish the show. So that's very much like renting it from a friend for, I could charge you for this. You can borrow it, but I need $10.
Isn't it just another angle of Movie Pass? Kind of.
no.
Well, I mean, I think the thing here that's important is, right, Movies Anywhere works with platforms that you already own and
These are movies that you bought.
So like I own the whole Star Wars collection and all of the Harry Potter movies. I can let you borrow it since I've got it digitally.
And that was one thing that people that like physical media kept hanging on to is if I own the DVD, you want to watch it, I can give you the DVD, you can watch it and then give it back to me.
Right.
You couldn't do that with digital, but now you can.
Now it looks like it is possible within Movies Anywhere, which is good.
Yeah, no cost, easy way for me to share a movie that I really enjoy with you, and then
and this isn't like the stuff on Disney Plus that you're just streaming because you're paying the subscription. This is something you physically or you own. You just don't need a physical copy anymore. Right. So Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good service. I certainly see it.
And I got to say, this is definitely going to be coming to the other services because otherwise it's going to be a more compelling reason to get your movies through Movies Anywhere instead of the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store or Amazon or
Well,
wherever.
remember, if you have it hooked up to those various apps, they do get into the
Exactly.
Movies Anywhere. So
But
in a way,
if-
you are doing it already.
But
Yeah.
if you didn't buy it through the Movies Anywhere store, you may not be able to lend it out because you
Oh.
purchased it through someplace else. That's my understanding.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
your Movies Anywhere library will show up everywhere, but you still know where you purchased it from initially.
Okay.
And that purchase is tied to a terms of service. So I doubt you would be able to lend out something that you bought from iTunes.
We'll
So
see.
how-
I could try testing that out.
Yeah.
So how do they make their money?
By
Movies
selling
that-
you the movie.
Yeah, by selling the movies.
And then if they have this service that lets you rent it or loan it to somebody, that gives you a better incentive to buy more movies from them through them instead of the other platforms that you could get it from.
All right, let's try something
I
out.
see.
Right, I might try to log in and lend
I
you
don't
something.
see. I don't see how to share, but that may be my lack of knowledge.
You have to sign. You have to do the request the feature right now.
Oh, I have to request the feature separately. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's something for us to try later. We can experiment with this afterwards. I've got a movie that I bought on Amazon, and I have several that I bought in Movies Anywhere. So
I've got extras.
we can play around and see if we can figure out how to do video sharing.
Sure.
Hey, Movies Anywhere. I use deduplication, so I have infinite copies.
That's right.
You have infinite coffee?
Yeah, no, I don't. Unfortunately, I have infinite copies because I use deduplication. Hey, so Facebook has their portal devices, and those portal devices, they are going to be providing them free to UK hospitals and care homes. This is during the COVID-19 crisis. They've decided to be really nice and provide these devices to these. Wait a second. Are they just dumping these things off somewhere? Is that what they're doing?
I read this. And at first I said, well, why are they giving them to only UK hospitals? And then I realized, oh, maybe because UK hospitals are the only ones that would accept them.
Also, it's a 2050, a very specific number. It's like,
Well,
how many
Yeah.
got in the warehouse? 2050.
I
Okay,
mean,
we'll just give those away. It's fine.
there's
They can
cameras everywhere in England anyway, right?
That's
Well,
true.
I figured because of the HIPAA rules here in the U.S., the hospitals probably can't, because of Facebook's lack of privacy,
Right.
that they probably can't even could legally allow them in the hospitals.
I think it's also worth considering is the fact that the UK is being hit extraordinarily hard right now by the virus, and so it may be that a combination of they had the devices there. This is the place where they're having probably right now one of the biggest challenges worldwide. They look to be moving into kind of.
I found the answer. Because they already had 50 portals in use in pilot locations.
Okay.
So since they were already doing a pilot program there, they just decided to roll it out.
Yeah.
Also, even though Facebook's privacy policy is a hot mess, I would imagine their portal service is actually HIPAA compliant.
So
So
I
bet
gotta
you they could get it right.
gotta
But
ask,
I'm not a lawyer.
do these things run on 5G?
Apparently they can.
Okay.
You should work with anything with internet. So
Okay. Because I know the UK has been having a lot of 5G issues.
oh,
Just
no.
people attacking the towers.
What?
We'll talk about that later.
All right. Hey, we got some numbers from Disney Plus people. It looks like they've been able to release information that they now have 50 million subscribers, and they've got those in 5 months. They have released. They have gone off to international places, so that was a big bump for them. But 50 million subscribers in 5 months is actually a really good start for them, I must say.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Okay.
Next thing is that Stadia, that Stadia, the product about streaming your video games online, they've offered a free Stadia Pro for free for 2 months today. If you want to give it a shot, you can try Stadia Pro right now. Also, apparently, the quote-unquote free version of Stadia is actually going to be starting with this as well. I mean, maybe this is something I read in another video. So, and then another news story that also the 1080p version is also coming up online too. So, if you wanted to try Stadia, for either try out the Pro version for 2 months or try the free version, it looks like now's the time where you can get in there and try it out.
Yeah.
I might try out Stadia. I actually got the offer for the Stadia Pro 3-month trial because I'm a YouTube subscriber.
Mhm.
And so I haven't gotten around to. I've been super busy, so I haven't had the chance to get around to it. So we'll see. Might get to that. And last story of the week for us guys is it took a long time. They talked about it forever. T-Mobile and Sprint are finally T-Mobile. No Sprint.
It's about time.
Yep. So it's official. T-Mobile and Sprint have joined together into a single company. The CEO of T-Mobile, I forget his name, but everybody loves him. He stepped down and is no longer going to be CEO.
That was John Legere.
Wait.
John Legere.
So is the Sprint guy going to be in charge?
Apparently.
Oh, okay. I don't think I want to go to T-Mobile anymore.
Why not?
Because
like
it's
John.
basically they're doing the thing that Sears and Kmart did, where Kmart was going bankrupt, so Sears let Kmart buy Sears, and then Kmart ran Sears into the ground.
It's not the Sprint guy either. It's the chief operating officer is the one that's taken over.
Okay.
But from what company?
From T-Mobile.
Oh, okay. As long as he's got the right pedigree. I mean, because when you move up, you bring along the corporate identity that you were a part of. So depending on who runs that company will dictate, what company they were from will dictate kind of the direction that the new company will go, because you've already got that, kind of programmed into you. And like I said, I like T-Mobile. I like what they've done through the years and the moves they've made. I'm not a fan of how Sprint does business. So yes, if the Sprint guys were taking the helm, that would be a hard pass for me. Otherwise, if this is the T-Mobile people running it, then I think there's hope. So
now, remember, part of this big deal was there was some spectrum that was sold to Dish, and Dish has gotten like 7 years of use of the T-Mobile network as well. So Dish is about to become the fourth provider for a little while. We'll see if they should actually hold on to that.
So I'm guessing the "Can You Hear Me Now" guy is out of a job again. Because a couple months back, he had started doing those commercials that I used to be that guy.
He used to be
but
Verizon.
Now I'm with Sprint because Sprint is so awesome.
And now Sprint is, T-Mobile might pick him up and say, "Can you hear me now?"
But now we've
T-Mobile.
He becomes I couldn't trust him. You're now trying to sell me on a third company. Yeah, no. I can see, the whole story of, hey, I used to do this thing, but I changed my mind. It's like, I used to drink alcohol, but now I'm sober. Oh, but you know what? I found this thing called cocaine. It's much better. Then you become unreliable. And it's like, yeah, go away. So.
Oh, well. All I gotta say is T-Mobile does have a home internet streaming service for $50 a month for unlimited 5G at-home internet access. And for people out there who don't have other options, that is really an amazing no limits option available to many people out there. So might be worth it.
Or you could, if you work out of your home, you could use it as a backup service.
Right. Poor Jared. Actually, no, don't feel poor Jared.
Wait, what? No. The VOD
No.
Squad does not condone
That's
or
true.
the
Yeah.
Poor Subway. I should feel that. Say
Oh,
that
yes,
way,
yes, poor
actually.
Subway.
Poor Subway.
that guy almost single-handedly tanked that company.
That and the song.
It's like saying, Jell-O had to stop making pudding pops because,
Really?
luckily they stopped making pudding pops before, but they can never bring them back because pudding pops will always be associated with Bill Cosby.
No.
So, all right. Well, this is the point where we talk about the stuff that is not associated with criminals.
Are you sure?
I know I have never been successfully convicted of anything.
Is that a challenge?
But yeah, we want to thank all of the people that support us every month. You guys see something in us. We're still trying to figure out exactly what that is, but we appreciate it. And we take that faith as fuel to move on to the next week to do better. Even if it looks like we're not doing better, we're trying. I promise we're trying. But, if you don't believe me, go back on YouTube. There are videos from like 3 years ago. Go to episode 2 or 4 and then come back and tell me, yeah, it's a little bit better. But yes, to all you that support us, thank you. We appreciate it. And if you are watching this and you are not supporting us, but you would like to, head on over to patreon.com/the VOD Squad and give us whatever. We won't say no. Alrighty. Well, still no movie draft.
No.
So
we have to make a new game up, don't we?
We can make up the game. Rants and raves. Okay, what do we got?
Not a game.
Oh, it can be.
Okay, fine.
I don't know what the stakes are, but I just saw it behind you. That was funny.
So I've been, again, this is supposed to be spring break, which means things are supposed to be easier. And they haven't been because nobody's at school. That means I can go into the school and do some stuff and hopefully not get infected. So I've spent a couple of days this week already going into my school and doing various things, server stuff and other things, which basically means that I'm in some ways just as busy, if not busier than ever, because as soon as I get back, I've got a ton of various support tickets to do. My time to watch shows has not been good for weeks now, but I am happy to say that my wife, who basically is the primary TV watcher in the house, said, I feel like watching something new. Let's go look through our things we want to see. And she said, what about this 11/22/63?
That was based on a true story, right?
No, it's a Stephen King.
It's a documentary.
I don't know. We're only on like episode 4.
Okay.
But it's very good. So if you first of all, she's a history buff, so she loves the history. And I'm a time travel buff, so I love the time travel. And so far it's been a lot of fun to watch this series take place. We'd had to stop it because our son is home and there's stuff in there you really can't have him in the room for. So, but we'll probably keep on going and watching that one. That's been pretty good so far. I'm certain most everybody else has seen it already, or if they haven't, and they like a little bit of history, and they like a little bit of a lot of drama and a little of 50s stuff and 60s stuff happening. It's a good show.
That's one of those shows that I really, really wanted to love it.
Oh yeah.
And I got a couple episodes in, and I just couldn't go any further. Just like The Man in the High Castle,
Okay.
which came out right about the same time. So
See, I have a theory for the 11/22/63, and I'll share it after this in the after show, so you guys can hear my weird, wacky theory so far.
well, you don't have to share. Yes, somebody did actually shoot JFK.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I didn't know if
But
that was the theory.
No, that's not the theory.
That somebody actually shot. Okay.
No, but I have an interesting theory for the show. It's very meta, and since I'm only like 4 episodes,
is it about people that wear like a certain colored coat?
No,
Okay.
I'll tell you after the show.
All
So
right.
that's what I'm watching. That's the only thing I've been able to the time to watch. Otherwise, I go to bed and wake up and work and telephone calls, and I dreamed about this stuff. Geez, guys, please.
All right, Jimmy.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned this show before, maybe after the first episode or so, but on the FX channel, I watched it on Hulu, Devs. That's, a new show out, and that one's got me coming back every week to see the new episode. So really, really liking that. I think I talked about the format of it. The format is a little bit different than normal. I mean, it's a mystery type show, right? And
Sort of.
but the format of it is really not quite the same of anything else that you would see along that line. So maybe that's what I like about it. Maybe I like because it takes place in the setting is San Francisco, right? Love that city, but yeah, I'm finding it really entertaining. The actors are doing a decent job, right? Some of them maybe go a little melodramatic, I guess, in the show, but overall, I think it's really a good show. I'm really enjoying it. So if you hadn't checked it out, then that's definitely one to check out. There's some tech there. There's some mystery there, right?
Yeah,
So,
I still
very entertaining.
After all these weeks, I still am adamant that the mystery is what is the show about? That's the mystery, because every time you think they give you something that you're like, hey, Shiny, do you like this? Oh, it's gone. Okay, why are we here? At this point, I'm still watching it because, damn it, I've made it this far. There can only be a couple more episodes, and may as well stick it out because maybe they'll do something that'll blow my mind. But
I mean, I will say this show does have. I do see like the risk might be a little high there, to where this thing they may get out there in the story and don't know how to bring you back home from there, right? That they may just leave you out there lost in it.
I would say it's very schizophrenic in the fact that episode to episode, you don't know which personality you're going to be dealing with. Mm-hmm. And like, then you get a mystery, you get this other thing, and then they just keep taking all that stuff and like throwing it away. And then like the week before last, you had this really artsy episode with all the different like possibilities. And it's just like, oh, okay. So that one was obviously they did that because somebody had, wanted to make good on their college, big project or whatever. I don't know. Thesis. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as the show, and essentially what Clyde's saying there is that the
It's all over the place.
You get a more in-depth look at each character.
I mean,
what
yeah,
goes on in the show.
And
right?
I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying the show is all over the place. And until it'll be a couple more episodes before we figure out if it was a good thing or if they screwed up. But we'll find out soon.
Yeah, or maybe somewhere in between that.
Yeah. Right? Mike?
I would like to rave about something, but for the life of me, I guess, I don't have a lot to rave about. I've watched so much YouTube, and I just am running out of fun things to watch that is keeping me entertained. I've caught up on all of the people that I'm usually struggling to keep up on, and there's a lot of great content being made by people. I watched the guy from The Office, is it Krinsky or something like that?
Oh, John Krasinski.
Yeah, his Some Good News. That's kind of fun, but it's there's lots going on right now, but it's all slightly less compelling than it usually is.
Mike, be careful. You're reaching the end of the internet. Don't fall off.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's the update. It's Shel Silverstein updated for the 21st century. It's not where the sidewalk ends. It's where the internet ends.
Scott Johnson did a great can, and Fred and Can, I think he calls it, or something like that.
Oh yeah.
The first one is day 1 of the quarantine. I've got all of this stuff. I'm ready to go. And then day 2 is like, I finished Netflix. What do I do now? Day 3, he just like looks like a total slob. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel. I'm like, I've finished YouTube and Netflix. I mean, obviously not really, but I'm just having a hard time finding good stuff to watch now. So send me some recommendations.
All right. Well, much like you, I've been struggling to find good content. I've gotten to the point where I have watched some pretty terrible stuff just because it was stuff. I needed something that wasn't so engaging that it was distracting, but I needed something that it was enjoyable enough that it wasn't distracting, as I'm actively screaming at the screen that these people are terrible. Like that terrible tiger show. But I stumbled across something last night, which was one of my favorite movies. It just blew my mind as a kid. It combines two of the things that I love in life: Formula One cars and James Garner. It's called The Racing Scene. So it follows in the late 60s. It came out 69, 70. So in I'd say probably 67 or 68, he had it was when Formula A first came to the US. He had a racing team, and it was basically what we would now call a reality show. But it was a year in, kind of his life with the racing team. And it's been so long since I watched it. It's still amazing. And they did some point of view in the car driving that was it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. And so it's a lot of him, and then he also narrates it. So if you're like me and you're a fan of James Garner, this is a must watch. It's called The Racing Scene. It's on Amazon. Because I've watched some other stuff, Amazon finally said, I think I've broken out of Amazon thinks I'm a psychopath. And because I've been watching more stuff that's normal and not movie party related, And so it started realizing, oh, hey, you like the documentaries about cars and music. So I never would have even thought to look for it. So it's called The Racing Scene. It's a lot of fun. And I highly, highly recommend it. Plus, I always talk about the car I want as my daily driver. I always say I want something that's more like a Formula One car. Those Formula A cars that are in the movie are exactly what I want as my daily driver. So, I mean, look up a screenshot or something. You'll see what I'm talking about. But that
Interesting.
So, yes, absolutely. I think that will wrap it up. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. All of you out there, we got a big crew tonight. Thanks everybody for hanging out and participating. We appreciate it. We hope everybody's having a great time in the Great American Lockdown, as I'm calling it. Everybody's on house arrest. Many people are violating it, but
Hey,
fight the system.
Everybody finishing the internet is driving more users to watch us. So, hey, I guess we're benefiting.
When you got nothing better to do.
If you are here, we have been submitting titles all night. Head on over to tbs.showbot.tv. Somebody hit that bang remind so you can get the link in the chat. Head on over there, vote. We will choose a winner here in the post show. If you're watching this after the fact, sorry you don't get to participate. So maybe next week, join us live here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central on Twitch. And everybody, what do you say? Should we go to the post show?
Bye.
I think we should.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.